Hello students. So welcome to the class. So in the previous class we have started with alcohols, phenols and ethers, right? So we have discussed about everything regarding alcohols. So we have seen what are alcohols, how are they, which are the different ways of classifying alcohols we have seen, like monohydric alcohols, dihydric alcohols which are also called diols, trihydric alcohols which are also called triols, and polyhydric alcohols, yeah. And apart from that we have seen the methods of preparations of alcohols, and then we have seen the chemical properties of alcohols, which all different reactions are shown by alcohols. One is the acidic nature of alcohols, then is the nucleophilic substitution of alcohols, then oxidation of alcohols, reduction of alcohols, and even we have seen dehydrogenation of alcohols, a very important reaction wherein if you take a primary alcohol it will undergo dehydrogenation, alpha elimination to give aldehydes. If you take secondary alcohols it will undergo dehydrogenation, same alpha elimination to give ketones. But tertiary alcohols do not undergo dehydrogenation. Instead, they undergo dehydration with beta elimination to give alkenes. To give alkenes. So these were all the important reactions what we have seen. Now in this class, what we are going to discuss is we are going to discuss about phenols. Yeah. So what are phenols? See, if you look at the compound, alcohols and phenols both have the common functional group. The common functional group is OH group. Then what makes it different? In alcohols, we have discussed the OH group. The oxygen atom of the OH group is attached to sp3 carbon, which you call it as alkyl group. Yes, we call it as alkyl group. So if the OH is attached to sp3 carbon or alkyl group, then those compounds, those organic compounds are termed as alcohols. But if the same OH group is attached to sp2 carbon, not just sp2 carbon, sp2 carbon of benzene ring, sp2 carbon of benzene ring, then it becomes a phenol. It becomes a phenol. So sp2 carbon of benzene ring, it becomes a phenol. See, there is lot of difference between these two compounds. Yes. So if you look at this compound, CH2OH, then here OH. So if you see here, in this case, the oxygen atom of OH group is attached to sp3 carbon, which in turn is attached to benzene ring. So this is not called phenol. This is called as benzylic alcohol. It is called as benzylic alcohol. Yes, but if you see here, the OH group is directly attached to sp2 carbon of the benzene ring, and this is called as phenol. Yes, it is called as phenol. So there is a lot of difference. So depending upon this compounds, so what is the definition? In which hydroxyl group, that is OH group, is directly attached to the benzene nucleus are known as phenols. And here are some of the examples of phenols. Here are the first example what you're seeing is a phenol. Rest examples are nothing but the substituted phenols, wherein you have a methylated substituted phenol, and methyl phenol is called as cresol. What is methyl phenol called as? Cresol. So methyl group is at ortho position, so it is orthocresol. It is at meta position, it becomes metacresol. If it is at para position, it becomes paracresol. So what are these? These are nothing but these are the examples of phenols. Yes, they are the examples of phenols. Moving to the methods of preparation, the first one is by fusion of sodium salt of benzene sulfonic acid with sodium hydroxide. So benzene sulfonic acid is nothing but SO3H group attached to benzene ring. And we already know how do we get this benzene sulfonic acid. In your first PUC you have studied when benzene is subjected for electrophilic substitution, treating with concentrated H2SO4, we get benzene sulfonic acid. This benzene sulfonic acid, when it is treated with sodium hydroxide, a base, we get a salt, because benzene sulfonic acid is an acid. When you treat it with a base, we get a salt, and that salt is sodium benzene sulfonate, or sodium salt of benzene sulfonic acid, you can see. This sodium benzene sulfonate, when it is again treated with NaOH at 300 degrees Celsius, we get phenol and sodium sulfite. So this is one method of preparation of phenol from benzene sulfonic acid. The next method is by adding benzene diazonium chloride to large amount of boiling H2SO4. Yes, large amount of boiling H2SO. So you can see there, benzene diazonium chloride is nothing but a benzene diazonium salt. Yes, we know how it is obtained. Yes, when this benzene diazonium salt is hydrolyzed, treated with water, what do we get? We get phenol with a displacement of nitrogen gas, with the displacement of nitrogen gas, and it occurs under pressure. Then next reaction is by heating chlorobenzene with caustic soda under pressure. This method is called as dose process. It is a commercial method, students. It is what? A commercial method wherein we can prepare large amount of phenol. So what is this method all about? When chlorobenzene is treated with sodium hydroxide, when chlorobenzene is treated with sodium hydroxide is called as caustic soda, correct? So when it is treated with sodium caustic soda in presence of copper iron alloy at 300 degrees Celsius and 200 atmospheric pressure. Why this high temperature and high pressure is maintained? Because we know that aryl halides, or you can say haloarenes, they are less reactive towards nucleophilic substitution. They do not undergo nucleophilic substitution that easily. Yes, because they themselves are electron high density and a nucleophile has to attack. Therefore, we maintain this high condition. And which is our nucleophile? It is OH. Yes. So here, when it attacks, when it is treated with sodium hydroxide, we get O minus Na plus. That is nothing but sodium phenoxide. So this is phenoxide and this is sodium ion. So we get sodium phenoxide. This on acidifying, what do we get? We get phenol. This entire process is called Dow's process. What it is called? It is called Dow's process. It is a commercial method wherein we can prepare phenol on large scale. Such processes we call them as commercial processes. Yes. So the one is by benzene diazonium chloride, another is by chlorobenzene, the first one was by benzene sulfonic acid. Then from cumene hydroperoxide, this is a very well-known method and it is called as cumene process. So first we need to see how cumene is prepared. When benzene is treated with propene in presence of AlCl3, we get C6H5CH, CH3, CH3. This is nothing but cumene. Yes, this is cumene. Cumene, when treated with air, oxygen, we get cumene hydroperoxide. We get cumene hydroperoxide. This on hydrolysis gives us phenol and acetone. It gives us phenol and acetone. So these two are very important products. Both products are obtained under high yield. So which are the two products obtained by cumene process? It is phenol and acetone. Very important method. Then by distilling phenolic acid with soda lime. So what is phenolic acid? Salicylic acid is called phenolic acid. So when phenolic acid is distilled with soda lime is what? Mixture of NaOH and calcium oxide. So when you take NaOH and calcium oxide and when you distill it out, what compound you are distilling? You are distilling salicylic acid, which is also called phenolic acid. So this mixture is called soda lime. It is called soda lime. So when we treat acid with soda lime, decarboxylation occurs. Yes, so decarboxylation occurs to give us phenol and sodium carbonate. Phenol and sodium carbonate. Yes. Okay. Then by Raschig's process. So what is Raschig's process? When benzene is treated with hydrochloric acid in presence of oxygen, in presence of copper iron alloy at 200 degrees Celsius, we get chlorobenzene. This chlorobenzene, when subject hydrolysis in presence of silica, that is SiO2 at 450 degrees Celsius, we get phenol. This method is called what? Raschig's method. It is called Raschig's method, right? So we should be knowing all of the methods. So first one is by from benzene sulfonic acid. You are treating with NaOH, you get sodium salt of benzene sulfonic acid. Further treating it with NaOH at 300 degrees Celsius gives you phenol. Second is by from benzene diazonium chloride. So benzene diazonium chloride, when it is hydrolyzed in warm water, when you treat it with warm water, we get phenol. Very simple method. Next is Dow's process, a commercial method. Chlorobenzene, you take aryl halide when treated with NaOH in presence of copper iron alloy. Yes, we At 300 degrees Celsius and 200 atmospheric pressure, we get sodium phenoxide first. We do not get directly nucleophilic substituted product. So first we get sodium phenoxide, then on acid hyd treatment, we get phenol. Yes, this process is called Dove's process. Then next is cumene process. Yes, what is cumene process? Benzene is treated with propene. We get cumene. This cumene, when it is treated with oxygen, we get cumene hydroperoxide. You can see there OO bridging, it is peroxy bridging. So we get cumene hydroperoxide. This on acid hydrolysis gives us phenol and acetone. So both the products are very important. You cannot just write phenol, we write phenol and acetone. Next is by distilling out phenolic acid with soda lime. So decarboxylation occurs. Phenolic acid is nothing but salicylic acid. And when you treat it with soda lime, that is mixture of NaOH and CaO, NaOH reacts with salicylic acid, CaO acts as a catalyst. Decarboxylation occurs. So we get phenol and carbon dioxide comes out in the form of sodium carbonate. The next method is Raschig's process. So what is Raschig's process? It starts with benzene. When benzene is treated with HCl and oxygen in presence of copper iron alloy at 200 degrees Celsius, we first get chlorobenzene. This chlorobenzene on hydrolysis in presence of silica at 450 degrees Celsius, it gives us phenols, right? So moving to the next one, that is properties of phenols. So what are the properties of phenols? Looking at the physical properties, phenol is a colorless crystalline solid with carbolic smell. Obviously, phenol has got carbolic smell. The melting point of phenol is 40 degrees Celsius and the boiling point of phenol is also 40 degrees Celsius. Usually, if you observe, this phenolic compound is stored in dark brown bottles. Those bottles are said to be amber bottles, amber colored bottles. Why they are stored under amber colored bottles is they do not react when they cannot be exposed to air and light. So when you expose it to air, they turn pinkish because phenols undergo oxidation, giving benzoquinones. We'll see the reaction. Then phenols are soluble in organic solvents, partially soluble in cold water. That means phenols being non-polar in nature, they are soluble in organic solvents and partially they are soluble in cold water. Chemical for properties, acidic nature. It is nothing but hydrogen comes out, yes, when it is treated with metals or bases. This explains the acidic character of phenols. Phenols are also acidic in nature. They react with alkali metals and they are hydroxides. So you can treat it with sodium or sodium hydroxide, potassium or potassium hydroxide. They form salts which are known as phenoxides or phenates. So you can call it as sodium phenoxide or you can also call it as sodium phenates. However, phenols do not react with weak alkalis, that is bases like carbonates and bicarbonates. So if you want to distinguish phenol from carboxylic acid, how do you distinguish? Phenols do not react with carbonates and bicarbonates, whereas carboxylic acids react with carbonates and bicarbonates. So in short, you can say phenols are stronger acids than alcohols, but weaker acids than carboxylic acids. Next is reaction of OH group. Yes, how OH group comes out. Here we have action of ferric chloride. Unlike alcohols, phenols give characteristic color with neutral ferric chloride solution. Yes, alcohols do not give this test. So this is a characteristic to distinguish between alcohols and phenols. So alcohols do not give this test, whereas phenols give a characteristic color with neutral ferric chloride solution. This characteristic color is believed to be due to formation of colored coordination compounds. So reaction of phenol with ferric chloride is used in analytical chemistry for distinguishing phenols from carboxylic acids. Next is reduction with zinc dust. Very well known reaction. Last year we have seen the method of preparation of benzene. When phenol is reduced with zinc dust, we get aromatic hydrocarbon, that is benzene. Next, alkylation. Phenol is alkylated to give phenolic esters in presence of alkali with alkyl halides. See, when you take phenol and treat it with sodium hydroxide and chloroiodomethane, yes, alkyl halide, what do we get? We get ester, that is alkyl phenolic ester. Yes, so phenolic ether we get phenolic ether. You can look there. So phenol when treated with NaOH and iodomethane, we get methyl phenyl ether. This methyl phenyl ether is nothing but methoxybenzene, or you can call it as anisole. Yes, that is very commonly known as anisole, plus water plus NaI. Coming to the next reaction, that is acylation. Phenols, when treated with acyl chloride, or you can call it as acetyl chloride, in presence of sodium hydroxide, we get phenyl acetate. We get phenyl acetate. There is substitution of acetyl group. Therefore, this reaction is called acylation or acetylation. Okay. Then reaction with phosphorus pentachloride. This is a very typical reaction because when phenol is treated with phosphorus pentachloride, we expect that we get chlorobenzene, POCl3 and HCl. So we feel that chlorobenzene is the major product. No, and that is not actually the major product. When you take 3 molecules of phenol and treat it with the phosphorus oxychloride formed, it will form triphenyl phosphate, which is the major compound. So it is going to form triphenyl phosphate. Triphenyl phosphate becomes the major compound. Then reaction with NH3. So when phenol is treated with NH3 in presence of anhydrous zinc chloride, nucleophilic substitution occurs. You get aniline. What do we get? We get aniline. Next is reaction due to benzene ring. We know that the OH group in phenol is the electron releasing group because oxygen is having 2 lone pairs, correct? So OH group in phenol, if you see, it is electron releasing group. Yes, so here I have benzene ring, and here if you see OH, oxygen has 2 lone pairs of electrons. Therefore, it is going to release the electrons to the benzene ring. Therefore, I can say it is electron releasing group. So since it is electron releasing group, the negative charge increases from resonance. The negative charge increases at ortho and para positions. So a electrophile, if it has to attack, it will either attack at ortho position or it will attack at para position. So we will get products for phenols. For electrophilic substitution of phenols, we will get a product which is ortho substituted or which is para substituted, correct? So this reaction is called electrophilic substitution reaction. Electrophilic substitution reaction. And which are the electrophilic substitution reactions? Usually para isomer becomes major because here there is much steric hindrance. Here there is no steric hindrance. Then, so which are the reactions? Halogenation, nitration, sulfonation, Friedel-Crafts reaction. Yes, so these are obtained. Okay. Then, so there you can see halogenation. Phenols, when treated with aqueous solution of halogens under halogenating agent, very rapidly form polyhalogen derivatives. Nitration, with dilute nitric acid, phenols give a mixture of ortho and para-nitrophenols. So sulfonation as usual, and Friedel-Crafts reaction. You can take alkylation or acylation. Predominantly what is formed? Para isomer is formed. Yes, yields are poor, presumably due to overactivity of phenols. Then alkylation. Phenols when treated with same Friedel-Crafts alkylation, Friedel-Crafts acylation. So we get these products. Next reaction is Kolb's reaction. Very important reaction. When sodium salt of phenol is heated with carbon dioxide gas at 120 to 140 degrees Celsius under pressure 6 to 7 atmospheres, a carboxyl group is introduced mainly in the ortho position with respect to phenolic group. It forms orthohydroxybenzoates. This reaction is known as Kolb's reaction. A small amount of para isomer is also formed. Yes. If the reaction is carried out at high temperature, para isomer becomes the major product. So this is the reaction. Sodium phenoxide, when treated with carbon dioxide, 125 degrees Celsius, 6 to 7 atmospheric pressure, we get sodium salicate. Yes, a sort of phenolic benzoates. Like this on acidification gives us salicylic acid. Very important reactions. One is Kolb's reaction and another one is Reamer-Tiemann reaction. So what is Reamer-Tiemann reaction? When phenol is treated with chloroform and NaOH, what do we get? We get salicylaldehyde, CHO group. Formyl group is introduced at ortho position. Or when phenol is treated with carbon tetrachloride and NaOH, we get salicylic acid. Salicylic acid. O-hydroxy benzoic acid is called as salicylic acid. So this is Reamer-Tiemann reaction. Guttermann's reaction. HCl when treated with HCN, that is hydrogen cyanide, in presence of AlCl3 gives us the following compound, that is CHCl double bond NH. This when treated with phenol in presence of AlCl3, we get CH double bond NH substituted at para position. Further hydrolysis gives us para substituted benzaldehyde, para hydroxy benzaldehyde. This is not salicylaldehyde. Then reactions, these are just to discuss what all reactions occur in benzene ring with phenols. Bromine water, if you take, you get 2,4,6 tribromophenol. If you take dilute HNO3, you get ortho and para-nitrophenol. Concentrated HNO3 and concentrated H2SO4, yes, I can show you all the reactions also. So we know these reactions, we have already studied. So when phenol is treated with bromine water, yes, bromine water, you get 2,4,6 tribromophenol. 2,4,6 tribromophenol. When phenol is treated with dilute HNO3, dilute nitric acid, you get two products, electrophilic substitution. So we get ortho nitrophenol and we get para nitrophenol, okay, wherein para nitrophenol becomes major. Similarly, when phenol, instead of taking dilute nitric acid, if I take a mixture, nitrating mixture, that is concentrated nitric acid plus concentrated sulfuric acid, all the ortho and para positions get substituted to give us 2,4,6 trinitrophenol. 2,4,6 trinitrophenol, which is called as picric acid. Phenol, when treated with, this is Friedel-Crafts alkylation, CH3Cl in presence of AlCl3, I get orthocresol, that is orthomethylphenol, and paracresol, that is paramethylphenol. Yes, even the same reaction, if you carry out acylation, CH3COCl in presence of AlCl3, I get para product ortho, then here acetyl group COCH3 and para acetyl group COCH3. This is orthohydroxyacetophenone and para-hydroxyacetophenone. If you take concentrated sulfuric acid, yes, phenol, when you treat it with concentrated sulfuric acid, what do we get? We get benzene ring, ortho and para substituted. So at ortho position SO3H group, para position SO3H group. So we call this as phenol 2,4-disulfonic acid. Yes, and look at the last reaction here. When phenol is treated with CH2O, that is formaldehyde. Yes, it will first form novolac. Yes, then excess, if you take formaldehyde, it will form bakelite. Bakelite is nothing but a condensation polymer. It is a condensation polymer. So these are all the reactions shown by phenols. All the reactions shown by phenols because of benzene ring. Few more reactions. With carbon dioxide under pressure and HCl gives us salicylic acid, Cope's reaction. HCN, HCl in presence of AlCl3, parahydroxybenzaldehyde, that is Gattermann's reaction. Phenol with CHCl3 and KOH, salicylic Reamer-Tiemann reaction. Phenol with phthalic anhydride gives us phenolphthalein. Yes, phenolphthalein. Phenol when treated with CH3COCl in presence of AlCl3, para, ortho and para hydroxyacetophenone. This is also called Fry's rearrangement. Then phenol when treated with CH2 4 times N2 glycerol and further hydrolysis we get salicylic. Phenol when treated with benzene diazonium chloride we get para hydroxyazobenzene. This is an example for a dye. Phenol when treated with nickel when it is reduced in presence of nickel we get cyclohexanol. Very interesting reaction. Addition occurs across the 3 double bonds. Phenol when it is subjected to oxidation using chromyl chloride we get benzoquinone. The color of the compound changes. Phenol when it is treated with acetone in presence of concentrated HCl we get bisphenol acetone. Very, very, very important reactions. As I have written the reactions of previous set, you can even write the reactions for this set also and see. We have already seen also. Then phenol when it is treated with NaHCO3, sodium bicarbonate is a mild base, therefore it will not show any reaction. So we can say no reaction. Phenol when it is treated with sodium hydroxide and or sodium carbonate, it gives us sodium phenate. Phenol when it is treated with acetic acid or acetyl chloride or acetic anhydride, it gives us phenyl acetate. Phenol when it is treated with benzoic acid, it will give phenyl benzoate. If you want, you can even write the reactions and see here. Yeah. So here phenol. Yes, so this is phenol. Then here I'm going to take CH3COOH, or you can take CH3COCl, or you can take CH3C double bond O, O, C double bond, I'm sorry. So we are going to take CH3C double bond O, O, C double bond O, CH3. So acid anhydride. Yes. So when you take any of this, so there is, so this group gets substituted CH3CO, CH3CO or CH3CO. So in all these cases, what we get is benzene ring. Then we get COOCH3. Yes. So phenyl benzoate is obtained. Then phenyl acetate, sorry, this is phenyl acetate. So instead of taking CH3 group, if I take benzene ring and treat it with C6H5COCl, so what happens? I'll get phenyl benzoate, correct? I'll get phenyl benzoate, COOC6H5. So phenyl benzoate. With CH2N2, I get anisole. Methoxybenzene is called anisole, or you can name it as methyl phenyl ether also. Then with NH3, we have seen the reaction, we get aniline. With NaOH and CHI3, again we get anisole. With PCl5, we get C6H5Cl and C6H5 thrice PO4. This is called triphenyl phosphate, which is the major product. Then with NaOH and C2H5I, we get phenatol, C2H5O, C2H5. Then phenol, when treated with benzene sulfonate, we get phenyl benzene sulfonate. So these are the typical reactions of phenols. So many reactions we have seen, all these reactions being important. Yes, so these are the reactions what we have seen because of the benzene ring of phenols. This is another set and this is another set. Now, phenol with neutral ferric chloride gives violet color. This is a test for phenol. With bromine water, phenol gives white precipitate, and blue litmus paper, when you dip it in phenol, it turns red. That means it shows the acidic nature of phenol. So these are the tests of phenols. So with neutral ferric chloride, it gives violet color. With bromine water, it gives white precipitate. With blue litmus, it turns red. Correct? Okay. Then Lieberman nitroso test. So phenol, when it is treated with sodium nitrite and concentrated H2SO4, it gives green coloration. This on hydrolysis converts to red coloration, and further when you treat with NaOH, it gives blue coloration. So this is Lieberman's nitroso test. Why it is used? So what are the uses of phenol? It is used in formation of bakelite plastic, manufacture of dyes, formation of phenolphthalein as we have seen, antiseptic, germicidal, preparation of aspirin, salol, methyl salicylate drugs, that is medicines, and in the manufacture of picric acid. Now, what are ethers? General characteristics. ROR is an dialkyl derivative of water or alkoxy derivative of alkane, and that is nothing but ether. General formula being the same as alcohols. Therefore, ethers and alcohols form the functional isomers. Yes, bond angle is 110 due to counterbalance repulsion of alkyl groups, and hybridization state of oxygen atom is sp3. Carbon oxygen bond length is 1.42 angstrom. If both the alkyl groups are similar, we call them as simple ethers or symmetric ethers, and if both the alkyl groups are different, we call them as mixed ethers. And IUPAC system is alkoxy alkanes. Methods of preparations. Williamson's ether synthesis or Williamson's continuous etherification process. Excess of ethanol reacts with concentrated sulfuric acid at 140 degrees Celsius and forms ethoxyethane. You can look at the reaction when ethanol is treated with concentrated H2SO4. Here we need to take excess of ethanol. This reacts with concentrated H2SO4 at 100 degrees Celsius to form ethyl hydrogen sulfate. This ethyl hydrogen sulfate again reacts with alcohol since we have taken it in excess, and it forms ether, that is nothing but ethoxyethane. Yes, so this is the method of preparation of ethers. Please do remember, students, it is based upon the temperature. If the temperature is varied, then what happens? Instead of ethers, we'll get alkenes. Dehydration occurs, that is OH group and hydrogen from beta elimination is occurring, and we get alkenes. Next is Williamson's synthesis. When ethyl halide reacts with sodium phenoxide, then ether is formed. So ethyl halide, that is alkyl halide, when it is reacting with sodium ethoxide, sodium halide comes out, and what do we get? ROR. So ethyl iodide plus sodium ethoxide, you get ethyl ethoxyethane. How to write the IUPAC name? Ethoxyethane, and this is mechanism based on nucleophilic substitution. Other examples: sodium tertiary butoxide, when it is treated with ethyl bromide, you get tertiary butyl ethyl ether. Yes, sodium phenoxide plus methyl bromide, product is anisole. Yes, the product is anisole. By reaction of ethyl iodide with dry Ag2O. So ethyl iodide, when it is treated with silver oxide, yes, what it forms is, it forms ethers. The reaction is shown below there. So it forms ethers. So these are the ways of preparation of ethers. Industrial method. Same method. Ethanol, excess of ethanol in presence of concentrated H2SO4 at 140 degrees Celsius gives us ethoxyethane, that is ether. Or excess of alcohol in presence of aluminum oxide at 250 degrees Celsius also gives us ethoxyethane. So these two are the industrial methods for preparation of ethers. Moving to the physical properties of ethers. Ethers are colorless with a specific smell liquid. They are colorless liquids with specific smell. These are highly volatile due to low boiling points. Their boiling points is very low because they are insoluble in water, as they do not form any hydrogen bonding with water, because if you see oxygen on both the sides, it is having alkyl groups. So since it is having alkyl groups on both the sides, what happens? There occurs a term called steric hindrance, right? So there occurs a term called steric hindrance. So you can see here ROR. So here oxygen is available with two lone pairs of electrons, but it is surrounded by the bulky alkyl groups, due to which there comes a concept of steric hindrance. So because of steric hindrance, they are incapable of forming hydrogen bond with water. They are incapable, and therefore they are insoluble in water. They are insoluble in water. Yes. So we say their oxygen atom, though it is having two lone pairs of electrons, it is a neutral, we say. Because why? Because of steric hindrance of the alkyl groups. Yes. Chemical properties. So chemical properties is, one is, in dark, halogen reacts with ether in dark and substitutes alpha and alpha hydrogen atoms. So you can see the reaction there. Alpha and alpha prime, only those hydrogens get substituted. How many are there? All of them get substituted. All of them get substituted. So industrial method for one of the industrial method for preparation of halo substituted ethers. So suppose I take CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3. So this is ethoxyethane. Ethoxyethane, right? So ethoxyethane. So this is alpha, this is beta, this is alpha prime, this is beta prime, correct? So alpha hydrogens get substituted when you treat it with chlorine. Like let us see. So here two chlorine atoms. So one chlorine gets substituted for one hydrogen here, and another chlorine gets substituted for another hydrogen here. If you take another Cl2 molecule, again this alpha and alpha prime hydrogens get substituted. So I get CH3C, Cl, Cl, then O, C, Cl, Cl, CH3. Yes, so this is a typical reaction where you can see you get alpha, alpha, alpha prime, alpha prime, tetrachloro, diethyl ether. Tetrachlorodiethyl ether. This is occurring in dark. But if you take in light, in presence of light, the same reaction, CH3, CH2O, CH2, CH3, in presence of dark, in presence of light, all alpha, beta, alpha prime, beta prime hydrogens get substituted, all of them. So here there are three hydrogens, three chlorines come, two hydrogens, two chlorine atoms, O, C, two hydrogens, two chlorine atoms, C, three hydrogens, three chlorine. All of them get substituted, and this compound is called perchloroether. Perchloroether is obtained in presence of light. In presence of light. So this is the reaction. Yes. Next is oxidation of ethers. Ethers when left open in air. Ethers when left open in air, what do they give? They react with atmospheric oxygen and form peroxide. Yes, you can see that ether peroxides are formed. Oxygen gets added up there. So it forms ether peroxide. Then when ethers is exposed to air for a long time, then above peroxide changes into another peroxide, which is called ethyl ethoxyethyl hydroperoxide and is more explosive in nature. So this peroxide, if you expose it to excess air, it forms ethoxyethyl hydroperoxide. So next is test for peroxide in ethers, peroxide group. Yes, ether plus freshly prepared FeSO4 solution plus few drops of KCN, it gives red color FeCnS3. So when ether is oxidized with acidic K2Cr2O7, then it forms aldehyde. Reaction with HX. If hydrogen halide is cold, then we get C. Now you have taken CH3O, CH2, CH3. Cold if you take, then if you are taking unsymmetrical ether with cold hydrogen halide, smaller alkyl group forms alkyl halide. So smaller alkyl group will form alkyl halide. Remember, if you are taking cold HX, so what happens? Smaller alkyl group will form alkyl halide, and larger alkyl group will form alcohol. Like CH3O, CH2, CH3 plus, if I am taking cold, that is HCl. So what do I get? Smaller alkyl group is CH3, so I will get CH3Cl. Larger alkyl group will form alcohol, CH3CH2OH. Yes, so this is with cold hydrogen halide. So hydrogen halide can be anything. You can take chloro or you can take bromo. Yes, then if HX is hot, then what happens? If HX is hot, both of them will form halides. This reaction is called Zeil's method or alkoxy group estimation. So if unsymmetrical ether is heated with HX, hot HX, then we get two different types of alkyl halides. And by the test of both alkyl halides, we can confirm the alkoxy group of ethers. So if you are taking cold hydrogen halide, the smaller alkyl group, it forms alkyl halide and larger alkyl group forms alcohol. But if you are taking hot alkyl hydrogen halide, then both of them will form alkyl halides. Reaction with PCl5, phosphorus pentachloride. When ethers are treated with phosphorus pentachloride, they form chloroethane. Yes, they form chloroalkanes plus phosphorus oxychloride. With acetyl chloride, they form esters. With acetyl chloride in presence of zinc chloride, they form esters. Reaction with carbon monoxide in presence of BF3. In case of unsymmetrical ethers, CO group attaches with bigger alkyl group. CO group remains with bigger alkyl group. Reduction. Ethers, when they are treated with a reducing agent like sodium in liquid ammonia, 2 hydrogens it gives. So what we form is C2H6, that is alkane and alcohol. This is reduction reaction. Reaction with concentrated H2SO4 and dilute H2SO4. If you react ether with concentrated H2SO4, it forms ethyl hydrogen sulfate. But if you treat it with the dilute H2SO4 in presence of water, it will form alcohol. Please do remember these reactions. Concentrated H2SO4, ethyl hydrogen sulfate. Dilute H2SO4, it forms alcohols. Dehydration. When vapors of ethers are passed over 380 degree heated alumina, then by elimination of water, alkene is formed. This is known reaction. Yes. Uses. It is used in Woods reaction as a solvent medium. Alcohol plus ether gives natalite. It is used in place of petrol. Ether is also called as an inert solvent of aliphatic chemistry because of the inertness of oxygen. You know, oxygen is unreactive, right? Because the two alkyl groups are surrounding, steric hindrance makes it less reactive. Due to inertness of oxygen, it is the best solvent for preparation of highly reactive compounds such as Grignard's reagent. So if you want to prepare Grignard's reagent, we have seen the reaction last year. When alkyl halides are treated with magnesium in presence of ether, we say, because the ether acts as a best solvent, we say. Why it acts as a best solvent? Because of the inertness of oxygen. It is also used as an anesthetic. Other compounds such as ethane and isoflurane are also used as anesthetics, and there are the structures of ethane and isoflurane. Yes. So this is all about the alcohols, phenols, and ethers. So hope the synopses are quite clear for you all. With these synopses, in the next video, we will discuss the questions on alcohols, phenols, and ethers. Thank you.